gear doesn't matter, said the guy who's about to make another video about gear. Hello YouTube, my name is Matt Spa, and I am a photographer, videographer, and patient motorist in Atlanta, Georgia. Today's video is indeed about gear, and in particular two pieces of gear that I've recently acquired. One is my very first action cam, and I can say that after having this thing for 3 weeks, I wish I'd bought one sooner, and I'm glad I waited until now. I wish I'd bought it sooner because it's just a super cool piece of gear. It is tiny, it is flexible, it shoots good video, it's got awesome stabilization. I'm glad I waited until now because stabilization has gotten better and prices have come down. And it's got a little screen on the front, so I can see to frame up my shot. That one fact bumped the convenience factor up high enough for me to go ahead and spend the money to buy it. I'm sure that in time my fascination will wane, but for right now, don't burst my bubble. I love this little thing. The second piece of gear that I recently got is a new light. And I had a lighting setup that worked, but it lacked power and it lacked flexibility. So to try to solve those two problems, I went shopping, and I kept coming back to the Aperture 120D. Good size, good form factor, good power for what I was doing, but it had a couple of shortcomings. It was expensive, and I know it's not relatively expensive, but it's still expensive. And it was not a bicolor light, and I found myself in a lot of situations having to stack gels or do other things to try to match ambient lighting if I'm working on site, and this was for working on site. So I ran across a light on the Adorama site that seemed to tick all the boxes, but I couldn't buy it because it was pre-order, not available. This went on for months, but now it's available and I have ordered it. The studio just called and said your Adorama box arrived, and so I'm headed back there now to do an unboxing and some very unscientific looks at what this light can do. And I want to compare it to the lighting setups that I've been using up until now. So you'll get an idea of the super simple, stripped down, bare bones approach that I've used with my two previous lighting setups. And then we'll compare those to this, what I would consider more powerful, more professional option. So join me back in the studio and we'll bust open a box. This is the Clar Illumi Max 120 high performance bicolor LED light. And according to the box, it's all possible with Clar wireless LED. So let's see if that claim is true. Got inside the box, we got, oh, good grief. It's heavy. We have a nice padded case inside the box, and a stout handle with some Velcro and a place to put your business card. We have the booklet. We have a what looks like very long power cord, a 5-pin XLR type cable, which I guess is going to go from the controller to the lamp. So we've got some dirt on it. It's actually got dirt on it. Yep. But we will remove the 7-inch reflector. Put that over there. And what we have is a all metal construction light. It's pretty stout teeth on the adjusters. These are aluminum. Yellow fan in the top. This is a tiny unit. I do not have big hands, so you get some kind of idea of the size of it. We've got a pretty nice clamp receiver, a receiver for that 5-pin. So we have a strap for the bag. We have the controller. So we've got channel selection, DMX control, which is nice. DC, I guess this is the power. We have a nice substantial feeling wheel and an on-off switch. This has an area for V-mount batteries on the back. And it too has a strap. You can see these are strips. I hope you can see these are strips. So we have two sets of LEDs in there, which is what gives this its bicolor operation. So nice protector. Very simple remote, power, plus, minus, and what looks to be a menu button. Power supply with 2 Velcro straps on it, a male V-mount. So you can just pop this directly in there and make this into one unit. So let's put this thing through its paces, see what I actually bought. Before we get started with the new light, I'm going to do my normal, incredibly unscientific bit of testing for contrast and comparison. What you're looking at now is the absolute most basic lighting setup that I ever use. It is a 36-inch shoot-through umbrella, and it has an Aperture Amaran F7 behind it. That's a bicolor light. There's a reflector here to the side that's about 24 inches from my face. It is nothing but a piece of foam core, 20 by 30. And the background is 16 inches from me, and now it's waving in the breeze. So to get this set up at f5.6, which I like, and 1/50th of a second, which I need, I have to bump my ISO to 6400, which is not a huge problem, but could be better. What you're looking at now is the step-up lighting setup. So what I have is a Westcott 43-inch octabox with a single layer of diffusion on it. Inside there, I have a pair of these plastic receptacles. They have a switch on the back, they have a receiver for a light stand, and a receiver for an umbrella. They've got a decent sized cord. In that, I have these 30-watt LED bulbs. These are rated at 6,000 K. They burn cool, they don't flicker. They're $16, I think, for a set of 4, I believe. So these are $4 a piece. These were $9.99 a piece. Everything will be linked below. You lose the bicolor capability, but I made some CTO gel socks that I can just pop over. You lose some light output with that, but if you need to match a tungsten light or you're just trying to balance things out, very helpful. So there's lighting setup number 2. And now you are looking at the Illumi Max 120. It's considerably brighter. I have it on 100% output and it's set to 5600K, so I've made the same white balance adjustment in camera. The ISO now has dropped down to 1250, so I'm getting a better quality image and also probably a better quality of light. This is in a Glow 42-inch softbox with single layer of diffusion. I'm not using the Beauty Dish cup, so the light is just coming straight through there. Looking at these side by side, we really can see the differences. The Aperture F7, because it's a smaller light source, is a harder light. Look at the shadows in the eye socket and being cast across the shirt. It's just not as pleasing, but the color's good. If we freeze this, you can see it. Look at that shadow on the shirt. Moving to the middle, we get a softer light, but there's some obvious color issues there. And then moving over to the Illumi Max, we get much more even lights. We have that softness, but we also have some color accuracy that we're lacking in the middle. One thing I noticed too is the reflector is working a whole lot harder with the Illumi Max. Because that light has so much more power output, more light is bouncing off that reflector and filling that right side of the face. If we start this back up and apply Final Cut Pro's very basic balance color, we see really more of the same. The color in that Illumi Max 120 is just, it's pleasing. I could use that just as is without any problem. The F7 almost has a little bit of a interrogation kind of feel to it. And the 30-watt bulbs in the middle are certainly usable, and you can adjust that color and get it to where you need it to be. But if you can get it right to start with, get it right to start with. Before I share some final thoughts, here is the controller. It feels solid in the hand. It's an aluminum housing with plastic end caps. It does have the V-mount on the back, so you can run this off battery power, or the power supply will clamp in there, so it all becomes one unit. The dial feels solid. The buttons are easy to navigate. It's very intuitive. Color adjustments can be done from the unit or from the remote. It does everything that it should do and does it in a very nice package. I thought I'd bookend this with a little more action cam footage and give my kind of wrap up and first impressions of the Clar Illumi Max 120. I think this light is unique. I can't think of anything else that has the build quality, the quality of light, the case, the remote, the aluminum yoke, the power, the bicolor capabilities of this light for $420 US. If you came to me and said, Matt, should I buy that light? I would say, yeah, buy that light. I don't know how it's going to last over time because I just got it, but I will say that I knocked the light stand over while I was doing my testing, and it hit the floor from 6 feet up and didn't even dent. It didn't even flicker. It still worked perfectly. So maybe that weighs in its favor, maybe not. But all in all, I would give this light 2 thumbs up in a heartbeat. I hope you found this insightful and informational, maybe even educational or entertaining. If you did, I'd love a thumbs up. I will never turn away subscribers, and I relish comments down below. So hang around the channel if you'd like. Check out some of my other offerings, and I'll see you in the next one.